Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of I See Bad Movies, Season 6, Episode 3. Would you believe?
Wow.
I know. I'm one of your hosts, Dave Keane, and I'm joined by Emma, for she's a good fella, Spicer.
What was that?
Well, for she's a jolly good fellow, this episode is going to be released the week of your birthday. So,
okay.
Happy birthday to
I thought you were
Emma.
trying to rhyme fellow with Emma then, and I was like, that doesn't rhyme.
I mean, Emma, fella, it's assonance. It's getting the rhyme wrong.
Okay.
It's kind of, there's a kind of rhyme there. Emma,
Okay.
fella, it didn't work.
Is this going to be released? Oh, yeah, it will be actually.
It
won't
is. It's going to be, it's, we are recording a little bit in advance because Emma's going on holiday.
I know, selfish.
How dare you?
I know,
I know.
the audacity.
Going anywhere nice?
No, not really.
No, typical. And the audacity. We're recording on Audacity as well.
Yes.
How fun is that? Oh, God. They don't get any better than that, do they? At least from me.
They do.
Oh, thanks.
Well,
Oh,
not from you, but from other people.
Jesus. All right, fine. Enjoy your holiday.
Don't be stroppy just because I'm leaving you for a week. But we are recording enough episodes to keep you going.
Yes, that's true. You are. Well, no, we're recording enough episodes to keep me editing.
Yes.
Well, you're
exactly.
away. To keep
so
me
you'll
busy.
be so busy that you won't even miss me.
I won't be pining for you.
No.
I know that you're just
You'll have
away,
my dulcet tones to
having
edit.
fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I'm not going to have any fun.
You're not going to have any
No.
fun. You've got 2 kids.
Well, it's a trip. It's not a holiday, it's a trip. I've got 2 kids, yeah. It's a trip. It's just parenting somewhere else.
It's when you're a parent on holiday, it's
Although,
always a busman's holiday, isn't it?
It is parenting without chores and school runs and
That
work
does
and
make a big difference.
cooking dinner, cleaning up after dinner. It does make a massive difference, yeah.
That is a big, big difference. You're quite right. Emma, would you like to... No, you know the movie we're watching.
I do know, yeah.
You do know the movie.
Yes.
Would you like to tell the audience the movie we're watching?
The movie is called Toxic Avenger.
Yes, indeed.
Did I say Advenger?
No.
Avenger.
You just... I think you
Felt
just
like
called
I
it
said
Toxic.
Advenger.
Maybe you did. We can listen back. And if you
Anyway, it's Toxic Avenger.
did, it is the Toxic Avenger. You're absolutely right.
The Toxic Avenger, sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't picking hairs.
That's the name of the movie.
I was just getting the movie right, yeah.
Yes. This is a podcast about movies, so that's quite important.
It's
Can't
kind
find
of...
this movie anywhere they're talking about because we gave it the wrong name. We did have a movie, was it season 1 that had 2 different names? We couldn't find it.
It had 3 different
Oh,
names
3?
in the long run. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Demon House was one
Yeah.
name, and then, but then it ended up being,
we
there
call
was a movie called Demon House or something, and the movie we watched ended up having a different... It was so frustrating trying to find the movie. Because we recorded the intro saying we're going to be watching this movie,
And then
it was
it was called something
actually,
else.
we watched a completely different movie called something else. Yeah.
Oh, did we? Okay.
Yeah. But...
We were young and foolish.
We were...
We were inexperienced podcasters back then.
How dare you? We have always been
Foolish.
professional. Oh, okay. Jesus.
Now we're just old and foolish.
We're just...
We've worked really hard and now we're old and foolish.
we are. We are. Oh, fine. I'll be a cold, old and foolish. However, would you like to know the synopsis of this movie?
I would, yes, I'd love to.
Good. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you a choice. Would you want the Claudio Carvalho from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil synopsis?
Oh, that sounds exotic.
Would you like the Cinema Fan synopsis? Or would you like Eric from Mexico City synopsis?
I want the first one, please.
The first one.
Yeah.
We're going to go with Claudio Carvalho.
Sounds exotic.
It does. In sunny Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. So, in Tromaville, Melvin works in a health club with his bucket and mop as a janitor. The sadistic and bullying Bozo and Slug and their girlfriends, Julie and Wanda, who love to hit and run people in empty streets, play a cruel prank on Melvin, and he falls off the window into a barrel of toxic waste in a truck parked in front of the health club. He turned into the strong monster Toxic Avenger and protects the town from criminals. He saves the bride Sarah from a sexual assault, and soon they become sweethearts. At the same time that he is worshipped by the residents, the corrupt mayor, Peter Belgoody, and his gang want to destroy him. It's full of it. Now, I will
You're full of it
I'm
too.
yeah, the look I just gave Emma. I know it's birthday week, but you don't get a pass being that mean. Thank you very much. Some of the tags on this film, Emma, is
Yes.
B action, splatter horror,
I thought you were going to say biatch then.
Biatch.
Biatch. That's what you're going to call me, weren't you?
Well, I mean, I've been thinking about it, I'm not going to lie. Comedy, horror, and sci-fi. I've not seen this film, but it has been on my watch list for absolutely years. Absolutely years. There's a part 2, there's a part 3, there's a Citizen Toxic, the Toxic Avenger part 4, and there's even been a remake as well. Remade in 2023, starring Peter Dinklage and Elijah Wood and Kevin Bacon. And Peter Dinklage is playing Winston, who becomes Toxic. Wow. There you go. So this does have 6.2 on IMDb, but there's many people saying, well, it's even better than you think. So, shall I toss the coin and figure out if we're going to focus on the good or the bad? Okay, here we go. No, I didn't actually toss that there. I just chucked it up in the air. All right, good or bad? What do you reckon?
Good.
It's the bad again. Oh. We've had bad 3 times in a row for this season. Right, well, I picked last week, so let me just fan the categories out for you to pick the categories that we're going to focus on the main episode. If you want to hear about the good stuff that we find in the Toxic Avenger, you're going to have to join us on our Patreon episode, and you can find out there.
Okay, let's go. So we've got line.
Okay, good.
Music. That's always a bit hit and miss, isn't
I know,
it?
but with a 1980s movie, they might throw something a bit mental in.
Death.
Oh.
Hopefully there are some deaths.
Especially in a movie called, where one of the tags has got like splatter. I think there's going to be some interesting deaths.
Should be good then. Costume.
Okay. Oh, perfect for a superhero movie.
And then the last one, up to the end.
That sounded really sad, didn't it? Perfect for a superhero movie. Oh, excellent.
Hopefully there are some stunts.
Yeah, finally.
There's not always, we don't always get stunts.
No, we don't.
movies,
Like
do we?
Spaghetti Man, there was no real stunts. No. Captain America, there was no real stunts.
Did we have any stunts in Body Parts?
Well, yeah, there was
the one that had...
That was
we
did
have a few stunts with the car chase and stuff.
the car chase. Yeah. But that was a different season.
It was, but I'm just thinking the last movie we had with actual stunts in it.
Yeah, I know. And we put that in there thinking, oh, there's always crap stunts in bad movies.
Yeah.
And there's, boy, have we been proven wrong.
We take a chance.
You do take a chance. Okay, well, should we go and watch The Toxic Avenger?
Let's do it.
Oh, welcome back, Emma. We've just watched The Toxic Avenger.
We have, and what a movie.
What a movie!
We actually liked it, didn't we?
Yeah, I really liked it. And I'm pretty sure I said in the intro that The Toxic Avenger is a movie that I've known about for pretty much all my life.
Yeah.
Since I was young. Well, at least since I was 6.
You were never young. Were you?
Yeah, I was 6 once, honest.
Were you?
Yeah. Betty's Video Store, Partick High Street.
Oh, the video store.
Probably seeing the front cover of The Toxic Avenger and thinking, wow.
I'd never heard of it before.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you introduced me to it because
Well,
I actually really enjoyed it.
Oh, you're very welcome. I mean, you didn't thank me, you just said you were glad, but I'm taking it as thanks.
You take it how you like.
Not quite sure I know how to take that. Anyway, it was a lot of fun.
It was
I did really like it. It's a cult classic, I think, for a very, very good reason.
Yeah, it's not a classic superhero movie, but it's absolutely delivered on fight scenes, death, stunts. It really delivered.
Yeah, gore as well.
Yeah.
It really delivered on that. Tan lines delivered on that.
It went to town with the gore, and it was very gruesome.
Oh, 100%.
Also, the beginning was very sort of soft porn. We had
You've got very, very strange. Well, no, true. No, okay, yeah, maybe. Yeah, in the beginning, yes, okay.
In the gym, we had a scene where I was like, okay, we're literally watching people have sex.
They were very
we did
handsy.
Think it was going to go down one route, but then that was only the beginning, wasn't it? And then there were a lot of boobs in it, but it got more.
That's
gruesome as it
80s
went on.
action. There's
Lot
comedy,
of
horror
movies,
thing. There's
bad
always
timeline.
yeah. There's always going to be those things in an 80s movie.
Yeah.
They're a staple after all. All right, so shall we talk about a little bit of our synopsis then? Let people know what happens in the film if you haven't seen it already, I suppose. But if you have seen it already, you could probably go, that didn't happen in that order. Because we're old. I'm old. I just can't remember things that well.
About everything that happened, but whether it's in the right order,
it's
potluck.
And also, it might just leave us a bit of a surprise for you because you'll be like, wait, they said this happened and that's not what happens. So, you might also think, oh, what a surprise. Lovely. Or not. So, anyway, we start the movie with a voiceover talking about Tromaville. And ultimately, kind of like a discussion from the voiceover about toxic waste in our society and how we live our lives is creating billions and billions of tons of toxic waste.
Yeah.
And tells us that Tromaville is the world record holder of the most toxic waste.
Something like that, yeah.
There's
a lot of toxic waste hanging around this town.
Yeah, it is the home of toxic waste or something like that.
I mean, is toxic waste, was it more of a problem in the 80s?
Yeah, it was a big thing in the 80s, wasn't it? Toxic waste and that sort of thing. Yeah. It always seemed to be, it was like quicksand and...
Is that what happened to the Mutant Turtles as well? Was that toxic waste?
Yeah, that was toxic waste. Daredevil got his powers from toxic waste.
Oh, so it was...
Yeah.
Almost a pandemic.
It was a pandemic of toxic waste. Oh my God. It really was.
On every corner there's more toxic waste.
But I think that was also because, a lot of American companies were kind of like, nobody's seeing us put this chromium-6 in the water supply. Yeah, no.
Everyone will be fine.
What's that? Erin Brockovich?
Doesn't that happen in The Simpsons? Is it the movie that happens in?
Yes.
Where they put the dome over. Was that...
They put the dome over because of the most...
And the fish pops up and it's got like loads of eyes popping up.
Yeah, because Blinking has 3 eyes in the TV show, but then the eyes multiply because it's even worse in the film, Oh, yeah. I'd actually completely forgotten there was a Simpsons movie for a bit.
We watched it a little while ago and we weren't really laughing at it. I hadn't watched it for years.
See, when it first came out, I don't think I laughed at it.
No, we were laughing at
watching it a second time,
certain bits that we
it
were
was
laughing
funnier
at.
again. Spider Pig.
We were laughing at when he goes and asks directions from somebody and she's just got like big saggy boobs and she shows him the way by spinning her boobs around and then they just point in the way and then Homer goes, "Thank you, booby lady." Me and the kids were cracking up at that. And there was a couple of bits we were really laughing at. And is it the movie where Bart is naked on his skateboard?
Yes.
The kids find that really funny. And you just see they keep covering it up by different things. And I think at the end you
do see it, yeah.
So that was, the kids find that really funny as well. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Simpsons movie.
We're not. But it was a nice tie-in because of the toxic waste. Tromaville is the toxic waste capital of the world. That's it, I think. That's how it's described, as the toxic waste capital of the world. I can't believe it took me that long to remember that. But actually, yes, I can also realise that too. Anyway, what was I talking about? Toxic Avenger.
Toxic Avengers, yeah.
So then we are introduced to what I can only call is the most happening and hip health centre in the whole entire world.
Yeah.
Everybody in town that is young, fit, and fancy-free is hanging out at this seemingly enormous, almost TARDIS-like gym, because it's just bigger. Leisure centre, it's got a pool. The pool is massive. The gym is massive. It seems to have this massive underground complex as well.
But apparently, these youngsters go there just to kiss, have sex, just be just disgusting.
Some of them do work out. There's aerobic classes going on as well, and the front of the building doesn't seem big enough to have all this in it, but it is enormous. But yes, some are there to just basically hang out, get off with one another, and some are there working out, and some are there to arrange murdering people, basically.
Yes, and then there's also the woman that's just in the aerobics class every time eating a sandwich.
Yeah.
just still eating a sandwich.
That'd be me. That would be me. I'm not going to lie.
Nowadays, that'd probably be me. I used to do all those classes, but, getting old.
With sandwich, without sandwich?
Without sandwich, actually.
Without sandwich.
Class, yeah.
Wow.
I know.
See, that's quite impressive. I would... If
I
knew sandwich was an option...
Once and it nearly killed me, but...
Oh. See, I'm confused as to why it's called spin class. Because there's very little spinning. You're sat on a bike.
Well, the wheels are spinning, aren't they?
Yeah, but... okay, so maybe it's not so tenuous.
No.
Damn it.
And they're spinning pretty fast because they are hard on you.
Oh, I bet.
They're just shouting at you to go faster.
Just keep going faster. Faster. Oh, please. Faster. So, there's a whole cast of characters that we're introduced to as we scroll through, and I'm pretty sure we're going to mention some of them as we go. Some of them are our main characters. Well, actually, let's talk about our main character. Marvin is introduced. Marvin's job is to clean up after everyone.
Yes.
Nobody seems to like Marvin, but imagine Napoleon Dynamite.
Bully him, don't they, basically?
Yeah, they all bully him. But yeah, imagine Napoleon Dynamite kind of look.
Yeah.
That's very much Marvin, isn't it?
Wanker.
Mop
Not
wanker.
briefcase wanker. But
Yes.
he's that sort of, he gets bullied, doesn't he? And he's just a geek and
Yeah, he does.
I think he's a cleaner and...
Yeah, we see him going through. We also meet, their names are Bozo, Slug, Wendy and Julie. Bozo and Julie are a couple, Slug and Wendy are a couple. And they're not good people. They are pretty much bullies, aren't they? They are the main ringleaders of any sort of bullying against Marvin.
Yeah.
And there's a few things that they do throughout the movie which tells us that they are terrible, horrible people.
Yeah.
There's one scene kind of in this sort of montage opening, and it is kind of like a montage opening. It all happens over like 5 minutes, this scene, maximum. And there's all sorts of different little vignettes of people doing things in the gym. We see the workout room, we see the aerobics class, we see the swimming pool, and Marvin kind of makes his way through all of these kinds of areas. And in the swimming pool, we really do get introduced to the 4 main bad guys in the film. They're sitting in kind of like a little jacuzzi pool, would you call that?
Jacuzzi,
Yeah. And they are... Bozo, is one of the most roided out characters I think I've ever seen in a movie. He's the angriest person alive.
Yeah.
There's moments he literally just looks at Marvin and he's like, "Oh my God, I hate that guy." Oh, and the amount of times he screams out of frustration through the movie.
A couple of times. It's just like, do people actually do that? To just walk up to people and scream? Apparently so.
I can only imagine the director said to him, "Okay, you are the angriest man alive. You just have to act like it." And yeah, I mean, there's moments where he's like pulling his hair out, like grabbing at his head, like, "Oh, he makes me so cross."
Oh, he really has got anger management issues.
There's one point as well in the film where he's like, "Julie's really messing with my karma."
Who says that?
He's getting so angry about things. But yeah, Marvin is quite useless at his job. And things come to a head at the pool when Marvin is called away to deal with something that smells in the bathrooms. And distracted, he accidentally puts his mop in the jacuzzi rather than in the bucket to rinse it out. And that gets Bozo out, Slug out, and they're grabbing at him, they're pushing him around, they're calling him the R word and all sorts of things. Yeah. And this movie's the 80s. It's full of things that you just wouldn't say nowadays.
Yeah, it would have been not okay. I don't know how to word this. It would have just slipped through the net in a movie. It wouldn't have been. Yeah,
they were just normal sort of slur words people would.
I didn't mean to say it was okay. It's not. It's never been okay.
Yeah.
I just mean that back then you wouldn't have got told no, you can't say that in a movie or a TV show. They were just things they used to get away with.
They were far too normalised back then. I think is the key. far too normalised, and the movie's full of them, so it is really just a movie of its time anyway.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
You know, and to be fair, it is only characters that you are supposed to kind of really despise anyway that are using these words anyway.
Yeah.
Gang members are using them, or bullies are using them.
We found out later on, this group of 4, I don't think they're teenagers, they're young, so they're 20.
Yeah, well,
they are pretty dark and evil. There's some stuff that they do.
Oh, yeah, because the next thing we move into...
Yeah, it's them leaving the gym, isn't it?
Well, you've got slut. So Marvin gets called away. They go off and... I mean, you see them all around the gym. They're doing... You see them doing, I don't know what gym exercises are. Chest extensions. You see them doing sit-ups. You see them doing all sorts of things.
Yeah.
They're all around the place. But then it cuts to... And it's like, we're just going to cut to this scene and these characters are doing this now, when literally 2 seconds ago in the previous scene they were in the swimming pool together, you know. So it cuts to Slug and Wanda, and Slug and Wanda are going off to have a little bit of alone time together.
Yeah.
And Wanda's like, "Oh, aren't people going to find us?" And because I remember you saying they're just doing this in a changing room.
Oh, it's an open.
Yeah.
It's not even doors closed. It's just an open area with lockers where they can get changed.
Yeah,
and
but do you know what happened? Do you know what happened? I realised there was a line in it where they said, "Oh, don't worry, I've paid Tony $15 to make sure we've got the place alone."
But it wasn't like an enclosed space. Though,
No,
was
it's a it was just the
so
changing
how can you make
room.
sure no one goes in there? Because
I know.
It wasn't a room. It was just like open, and there was other things around. So
well, that's the thing. They don't end up without anyone coming in because Marvin stumbles across them, and this is one that pulls out a knife on him and is like, beat it or I'll kill you.
But this is like full on sex scene, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Yeah,
it's not like they don't just allude to them having sex. She's
on
top of him.
Yeah, she is.
Weirdly moving from side to side,
Listen,
rather than up and down, which I was like, okay.
It's the motion of the
like,
ocean.
Really kind of.
I mean, it is.
You know when you like muck about with friends and you do that dance where you put your head one side and they put their head their other.
Oh yeah.
It was kind of like that. I was like, what are they doing?
That's exactly how it was.
What are they doing? And she was moaning and groaning a lot, and full like she was topless. It was full on
tan lines everywhere.
Oh, tan lines
everywhere. Yeah.
But it was because I thought, oh no, it's not going to be that kind of movie, is it? And then we're not actually going to get. But no, it did change course after that. So it had a few moments like that.
There was a few more.
There was a lot of boobs. There was a lot of like sexual stuff.
Yeah.
But actually, later on, you do get the
storyline,
stunts and the deaths,
and stunts and deaths. Yeah. And
some
storyline. I mean, the storyline's very simple in this film.
Yeah.
Ultimately, but before they start having their very strange sort of writhing around that happens in the changing room, there's a newspaper cutout at Slug's locker, and again, why have they got their own lockers? It's a public health centre. It's a public gym.
Have the same locker every time you go to the
gym. It's almost like, oh well, we did write this to be in a school, but we realised we probably couldn't have as many boobs and sex in a school.
Unless because he's such a bully, he's like, this is my locker and everyone's scared to use it. Maybe.
Fair, maybe.
Even though it is a public space.
Yeah, fair. I can accept that. Because, I would imagine that happening. But the newspaper article was about hit and run killers striking again.
Yes.
And this is really important because then Wanda's like, oh, I really want to, when you and Bozo go out driving again, I really want to be with you. I really want to go again. Because it turns out that they are the hit and run killers. Yeah. And they're going on about how great it is to hear the bones break. And so they're absolutely the worst typical kind of trauma bad guys. No care for anyone else. Which does give me something a little bit later that I think, okay, there's a plot hole, but I'll talk about that in the episode.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that when we get to our categories, I should say. Now, our hero Marvin ultimately kind of runs away from them. Uh-huh. We are then introduced to a night out with Bozo, Julie, Wanda and Slug in a car, and they're going on about the points they get for hitting people, and they've got the classic kind of like, fighter pilots would have an aeroplane with a cross through it to say how many they've shot down.
Yeah.
Well, they've got like a pram, they've got a woman,
Yeah.
with crosses through and see who they've hit. And they're like, oh, a kid under 12 is worth double points kind of thing.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, there's no, like, they don't care who they kill today. It's just,
No.
there's no one's off limits. Kids aren't off limits. In
Yeah.
fact, kids are probably more...
yeah,
Fun
are
for
more
them.
valuable to them to hit.
But they're drunk, aren't they? They're drinking. There's loads of
Yes.
empty beer cans in the
Loads of
front
empty beer
car
cans.
and-
There's a bottle of Jack Daniels being glugged, but when you
Yeah.
look at the actual liquid inside it, it looks like it's
Yeah,
cold tea or something, which...
probably apple juice or something.
Yeah, yeah. It didn't look tasty. Apple juice would be fine though, but I don't know what it was. Now, cue a cute little kid getting on his bike in the middle at night,
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
it's night time, so he's
I know.
been out on his bike.
and his mum's waving goodbye to him, being like, "You be safe out there."
Yeah.
And then
And how old are we thinking? What, 10 or 12? This kid?
yeah, it's gotta be. And he's riding away on his bike, and Bozo and all that spot him, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we're getting him." So they pull up beside him to check out how old he is, etc. And then they zip off in front of him, spin the car around, knock him over, and the kid's still moving, right? And then they reverse back over him, and it's the first very gory thing that we see.
Yes.
And it was really well done. The car reverses over, and you see the car go over his head,
Yep.
and it goes like a watermelon. And it was.
Yeah.
I was reading how they did it. It was a melon filled with like a red syrupy thing
yeah.
to make, and when it exploded, and it exploded on impact. It was just really well done.
But this is what I liked about this movie. You actually see the death. So we've seen
Yeah.
so many like horror movies. I know superheroes don't tend to be gory and gruesome, but
Mm-hmm.
we've seen lots of horror movies doing this podcast.
Yes.
And the amount of times that they just kind of allude to a death, but you don't see it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I get budgets are small and stuff, but if you're going to have a horror movie and there's people getting killed, we want to see the deaths.
Yeah.
We want
Absolutely.
them to be, and we want them to be spectacular. Like, go to town, really make it into make it ridiculous, make it gory. And this movie really delivered on that.
100%. I would probably argue that some of the lower budget movies have actually been better at showing us some of the
Yeah,
deaths.
actually.
Like Carousel, Larmageddon.
Yeah.
They've shown us gory deaths
Yeah.
and messy deaths. And Carousel, I think, has got some of my favourites in it of all time. But yeah,
Carousel's also
and this
got the
does.
sex scene.
It's also got the sex scene. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, don't get me thinking about that sex scene, because it's just, honestly, what the hell? Anyway. So, like, they've killed a kid, and then Julie and Wanda get out, and they're taking bloody Polaroid photos of it all.
Yes, they are. 'Cause they're absolutely sick.
Yeah.
Absolute sickos.
Absolute
They're
sickos.
just, like,
They are
loving killing
loving
people
it.
and taking pictures. But I did think, because we were watching it, this is the 80s. There's no CCTV probably anywhere. There's no Ring doorbells and things like
Yep.
that. There's no social media and smartphones. And not this would have been a normal occurrence, but people would have got away with stuff like that so much easier.
Yes.
DNA testing probably wasn't that great. Like, so even if you did leave stuff at the scene of the crime, like hair and fingernails and stuff, they probably wouldn't have been able to match you up, especially if you hadn't committed a crime, you're not in the system.
They even say, before they run the kid over, the coast is clear as well. So they're checking to see if there's any possible witnesses at the time.
Which
so yeah.
I know that we're like very watched now, and we're very, government know everything about us. We've got CCTV everywhere, and we've got like smartphones with all our information there available. But it does make you feel a little bit safer in the fact that it's harder to get away with
Yes.
a crime now, because you have got eyes everywhere. Most houses have got a Ring doorbell.
Yeah.
You've got CCTV everywhere. Everyone's got a phone they can whip out and video you
Yes.
doing something. In
But then
public.
that's the thing, isn't it? The amount of people that will whip out a phone and record it, and then someone is absolutely going to complain about the fact, but why aren't they helping?
Yeah.
Well, in some respects they
Depending on
are,
what it
because they're
is,
getting
yeah,
evidence, depending.
You need to identify that person. So if you get video footage or a photo of them,
Yeah, and
I mean, obviously you still need to call the police, but you do need to, because if that person runs off, then you've got nothing to go on at all.
yeah, nothing at all.
So yeah, but it's so back in the 80s, I mean, they could just go out killing pedestrians.
Just left, right and centre.
Willy-nilly when they felt like it.
Willy-nilly.
And get away with it.
Yeah. And boy, do they. Because they've got quite a lot of crossed off on that car. Quite a lot crossed off. Now, we go back to the gym the next day now, and we have Marvin. We've got Bozo and all that again hanging out. Marvin gets into the crosshairs. They're playing. This is right. Marvin is standing there outside the squash court, kind of staring at them, playing squash. Bozo turns around. Bozo's like, "Oh, I'm gonna." I mean, this is the funniest thing.
Up against the glass, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's got his. Yeah, he's absolutely just kind of. It's creepy. Anyway, yeah. Bozo is like, "Oh, I'm gonna smash this ball. I'm gonna serve it so good." He's really like, "All right, mate. Chill out.
Really
chill out." And he doesn't serve. He turns around and he sees Marvin there, and he's like, "Oh, I hate that guy." He absolutely goes off his rocker.
Yeah.
And then Julie's like, "Oh, whoa, come here. I've got an idea. We're going to get him."
Yeah.
So then we cut to the swimming pool, and Julie goes up to him in a bikini. No, I don't think it is a bikini. I think it's just a swimsuit. It's a very tight swimsuit. And she says to him, "Oh, I need you to help me with a problem, Marvin. Only you can help me. Meet me in the locker room at 7:00.
And his tongue's falling out of his head, isn't it?
Oh,
he's just like,
absolutely.
A woman speaking to me.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, that's good news because I've got to clean the toilets there at 7:00 anyway, so I'll be there."
Yeah. Sexy.
Smooth, Marv. Well smooth. And so then we have Julie. I mean, again, this is another little sort of scene thrown in where Julie's then goes to see Bozo and Slug and says, "Oh, we've got him hook, line and sinker." So then we cut to 7:00 later that evening. Marvin's in the changing room, Julie's there, and she's given the kind of like, "Oh, I really want you, I love you, you're so hot, and the only trouble is you're not wearing pink. I need you to wear pink, I find it really hot." So she gets out this kind of pink polka dot leotard with tutu and says, "Get changed into that and meet me by the pool."
Yeah.
And then she gets her boobs out as well, and then she goes off screen. It's just very randomly boobs out. So Marvin gets changed, goes into the pool where all the lights are off, and then you can hear Marvin going, "Oh, Julie, oh, this is so lovely." Lights come on, everyone is there, but Marvin is cuddled up with a sheep, who then bars at him.
But the sheep. Oh, so we won't talk about the sheep because I've got that.
You've got that.
Categories, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So the sheep's there. Everybody's laughing at Marvin.
Yeah.
However, I missed one bit.
How can you not tell the difference between a sheep and a woman? Well, no,
He even says, "Oh, Julie, you're so soft and furry and smell of a sheep.
Smell like a farm, and you've got hooves."
He's never been with a woman.
Yeah, but
He's
he
never
knows
been with
what
a woman.
looks like. Well, it knows. It can imagine.
You can imagine what a woman looks like and therefore would feel. Because if you know what flesh feels like...
And you know what wool feels like.
Yeah. Although, in 80s America, was there a lot of wool or was it a lot of spandex? Especially in this film. There was a lot of spandex.
Yeah, there was a lot of spandex.
But I did miss one thing. In between Julie going to tell Bozo and Slug and Wanda that she's what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
She's convinced Marvin to meet him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's got him hook, line and sinker. We're then introduced to two people driving a toxic waste truck into Tromaville, and they're like, they're just two guys driving a truck and they want a break, and one of them pulls out a big bag of drugs, and we're like, yeah, let's have a break and do a load of drugs.
Yeah.
And where do they park?
With toxic waste.
Yeah, just with toxic waste.
Sounds sensible.
and they kind of slam the brakes on and park in front of the health centre.
Yes.
And these vats of toxic waste they've got in the back, these big barrels of toxic waste.
Spill out.
They're not secured. They move about as they're parking. It's like, Jesus Christ. But there they are, innocently parked in front of the health centre. Nothing's got to happen with them, surely.
Yeah, it's fine.
Everything's fine. So now we have the scene where
Also,
Marvin...
at least one of them hasn't got a lid on it, has it?
All of them, none of them have got a
none
lid
of them
on.
got a lid on.
None of them have got a
That's
lid on.
ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. You're absolutely right. It's just the levels of health and safety violations in this movie.
That's obviously not the most
over the
ridiculous
top.
bit of this movie.
No, it's not.
We're coming on to that, but
So Marvin has this sheep thing happen, and everybody's mocking him, and he's distraught, and he's running away from everyone. Now, he goes running upstairs and throws himself out a window and swan dives head first directly into one of these vats of toxic waste. Now, when Marvin comes out of the toxic waste, he is melting. His face and skin is all melty. He is writhing around the floor in massive amounts of pain. Everybody runs out the gym to look at him. It looks like everybody from the whole town comes over to look.
there's a lot of people.
There's a massive amount of people. 2 cops come over and are like, hey, everybody, get out the way. And they try to one of them tries to pick Marvin up, and his hands burst into flames. Yeah. And Marvin himself then bursts into flames and runs away.
Yeah, he does just spontaneous combustion. We were talking about
We
this.
were talking about it when we were watching it, yeah.
Yeah, because that was the thing, like, when was that, 90s or a bit later, when everyone was just obsessed with...
Late 80s, 90s, there was an obsession with spontaneous combustion.
Yeah, people just thought that you could just be sat there and you could just burst into flames for no reason.
Yeah.
And there was, like, pictures of sofas with just, like, a pair of shoes.
Yeah. Oh, like I was convinced, as a kid, I was convinced my dad was going to die of spontaneous combustion.
Really?
Yeah, because I remember watching one of these like TV shows about it, and they were like, it's always happens to people on their own, obviously, because you know, oh my God, someone's just spontaneously combusted in front of me.
There's no fire damage anywhere. It's just they've just gone.
Yeah, and it always happens midday or during the day or something like that. And my dad worked nights, so he was at home on his own during the day at home, and I was convinced. And I was so convinced that it made me ill. I was so convinced. I was that worried about it. And I ended up, like going home for my lunch, because I lived like a 2-minute walk from the school that I went to. Yeah. I mean, it's just a little bit farther away from your kids' school. Yeah. And I used to go home for my lunch. Just so that my dad wasn't alone for those hours. How mad is that?
What were you going to do if you were there
I
and
was
did it?
I was 10 years old, and I was so convinced.
Were you allowed to go home for lunch in primary school?
Yeah, back then. Yeah. But I think it was actually, it must have been 8 to 9, because I think actually there was a little bit of because everyone was a bit worried about me because I was unwell, and there was a little bit of like I think it was a lot of actually this manifested as sort of like homesickness, having moved from Scotland down to England. Okay, yeah. And I think there was a lot of that sort of manifestation in it. And this was my kind of focus was, my dad's going to die of this. So I would go home during my lunch break.
Just to check that he wasn't dead?
Yeah.
But what if he spontaneously combusted when you were there? What were you going to do?
As a child, I've got absolutely no idea.
Oh.
You know? I wasn't walking around with a fire blanket.
It.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
so it'd be worse. It'd be more traumatic for you.
I would have been the only person in the world to witness spontaneous human combustion.
Yeah. Or was that your plan, that it never happens in front of people? So if I'm there.
Well, yeah.
But then you weren't there all day, so there was the other part.
I was there for enough of it to make me feel better.
Yeah.
But yeah, to 9-year-old me, that was a big fear. Yeah. That and quicksand.
Well, yeah, quicksand was.
Quicksand was
we were all going to die in quicksand.
And the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh yeah.
I was adamant that as an adult I was going to end up disappearing into the Bermuda Triangle somewhere. Yeah. Yep, 100%. Where were we?
I remember worrying as a kid about things. I remember in particular things like fizzy drinks. I remember thinking I just love orangeade or whatever it was, like Fanta or something like that, and just thinking and knowing that my parents didn't really drink fizzy drinks. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking, oh God, what if I don't like this when I'm an adult? And then thinking, and I think to myself now, but if I didn't like it, I'm not missing anything, I'm not losing anything if I don't like it. And now, if the kids have something, sometimes I have like a little bit of their like treats or whatever, and I'm thinking, oh, it's so sweet and disgusting. Like, I don't drink loads of fizzy drinks, but things like, we used to have like Cherryade, orangeade and stuff. It's so sickly sweet, it's disgusting.
There was no drink better than Bar's Limeade. It's amazing.
Oh, I don't
You would never have had Bars Limeade down here. It's
okay.
it's a Scottish drink. So Bars Iron Brew, Bars Limeade, Bars Cherryade.
I think I've had limeade.
Even
not-
Bars Cola. Oh, they were just so
Yeah.
sugary, but they were fantastic. They come
I
in a
used to
glass
like cream
bottle.
soda. That is so sweet.
Cream soda's amazing
My
though.
cousin introduced me to that.
Yeah,
and
really?
I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
As a kid. But why as a kid do you just love so much sugar? Because now I'm like, oh, it's so, some of the stuff the kids have, I'm like, it's too
Yeah.
sweet.
I was out drinking in Canterbury when I was a student, and I say student, this was when I was at college. To any American listeners, this is like sixth form, pre-university, pre-college, your college. And I was out drinking in Canterbury at the Cherry Tree Pub.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Do you know it? It's down one of the side
I've heard of
streets.
it. I don't think I've been there though.
And I was drinking vanilla vodka and lemonade, and it
Ooh,
tasted.
vanilla vodka,
It
that's
tasted
nice.
obviously cream soda's vanilla flavour, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it tasted just like drinking
Just a
cream
cream
soda.
soda.
It was amazing.
You can get toffee vodka as well, which is really
Yeah.
nice. But you can have that. You can literally drink that neat because it's so nice.
Yeah. I want to
With
do.
ice.
I want to. I know this sounds really basic, but I still want to do the Skittle vodka and do the different colour Skittles inside vodka and melt them down inside it.
Oh, I've not heard of doing
Yeah.
that. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be stupidly sweet, but
Yeah.
does it remember when we were at Sinead's 40th round at her house?
Yeah.
And I drank a whole bottle of that bison grass vodka when I was there.
Did you?
A whole bottle of it.
Wow, you must have been steaming.
I was just. The thing is, I wasn't actually that drunk
Oh, okay.
because I drank it over the course of the whole day.
Yeah, it was.
But
quite
by
a
the
long
end of the day, I was like, "Oh God, a whole bottle of vodka!
Yeah.
Jesus Christ!"
It's a lot for one person.
It was an awful lot for one person.
Did you feel ill the next day?
I know I was quite alright the next day.
Oh, okay.
It's just so strange.
Yeah, maybe like you say, because it was so spread out.
Yeah, and admittedly,
Probably
I
would have
did.
been way over the limit though if you were driving.
Oh God, yeah. No, I crashed at theirs. I
Yeah.
think I woke
No,
up
I mean,
on
like
the
the next day, you're
sofa
probably
upside
still,
down.
Probably still over the limit the next day. If you, I don't know how it works with alcohol because you've got it's so many hours per drink. But does that?
Yeah,
Is it
but-
consecutive? Like, does it matter how long over? You know, how long you drink it over?
Yeah, because you're always going to be wearing it off as
Yeah, because if you
anyway.
knocked it back in an hour,
Yeah.
that's going to take longer to come out of your system than if you've been drinking
Yeah.
all day.
And I'm a big guy as well.
So I never can work out when I was younger. I could never work out how much I had when I stopped drinking and if I'm okay to drive. So
Yeah.
I'd always play it cautiously and be like, okay, I
So
won't drive.
I'd have probably stopped drinking probably around about 11 o'clock that night.
Yeah.
I would say probably about 11 o'clock that night, and I don't think
So is your body?
I don't think I left Ben and Sinead's until 1 o'clock the next day.
Yeah.
After I think we stumbled down the road to the Beano's for a fry up as well.
Yeah.
So I say stumbled, jauntily walked.
So yeah.
don't
So
know.
if you've drunk, if you're drinking throughout the day, is that being cancelled out, or because you're topping yourself up? Are you still?
Well, yeah, no, because you're still, although you're drinking more and more units of alcohol, you're still burning through that alcohol
Yeah.
throughout the day. So if you drink a unit of alcohol and it takes an hour to go, I don't know if that's the true.
I don't know. Yeah.
So if I drank 4 units of alcohol in
Over 4
an
hours.
hour, in an hour, then the second hour that's only 3 units of alcohol still in my system. But you're
Yeah.
or you're still
Or if you
burning
drank
through
like
the
a unit
units.
an hour, then it would be kind of cancelling it out because.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's interesting.
I know. But I'm assuming I was okay. I might just have to cut that.
You can't get done for it now. You have to be caught.
Oh yeah, what's the
You can
statute
say
of
You
limitations?
can say I drink drive all the time. They can't arrest you for that because
Oh yeah, okay.
they have
no.
to catch you drink driving.
Yeah,
Because anyone
yeah.
can say, "Oh well, yeah, I drink drive." It's just me joking.
Yeah,
do
but
you know what
I
mean?
never think about it the next day. I don't always think about it the next day. But
I definitely.
I don't always now. Certainly nowadays, I don't think I ever drink. I hardly drink.
Yeah, well, I don't drink much now, so it's never really an
it's-
issue. Or if I do, it's 1 or 2. So by the next
Yeah.
day, I'm fine.
Very, very
But
rarely.
I definitely, when I was younger, had some heavy nights and then
Yeah.
left like a friend's house early the next day, and
Yeah.
and didn't go far. To be fair, I would have driven about 10 minutes, but it's still 10 minutes
You
in the car.
still.
And I reckon, and I felt okay. I would never do it if I didn't.
Yeah.
If I still felt.
Yeah, oh,
drunk.
yeah.
But I definitely think, looking back, I probably was over the limit several times. Like, so I was fine, as in I wasn't currently drunk.
Yeah,
I've been
but
drinking
because
the
you've
night
still got
before, though,
alcohol in the
And
system.
I'd had a heavy night, so I probably
Yeah.
would have had, when you're young, you're having like shots and That's quite concentrated alcohol.
I know.
So I would have had like several drinks and shots, and then been going till like 2, 3 in the morning some days.
See, my last...
And then got up and driven like quite early.
My last Christmas party, right, I worked out I must have done maybe 10 to 12 tequila shots on top of normal drinks. Because there was someone at the bar, one of the managers, just buying shots for people. Yeah, okay, if you want to spend your money, manager, not a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, good God. I mean, thankfully I was walking home that night.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What happened in the movie?
I was very, very drunk. So, Marvin is melted. Okay?
Yes.
He's absolutely melted.
He goes home, doesn't he?
He goes home, gets himself into the bath.
Lives with his mum.
Into water. Yeah, he lives with his mum. And we see him going through a transformation into the Toxic Avenger. Although he's never called the Toxic Avenger in the movie. Ever.
No.
I think that name came afterwards, and that's they named the movie without realising that was going to be the name of him all the way through it, because in the movie there are some t-shirts made about him called Monster Hero, so they don't even call him the Toxic Avenger at all at any point. No. Anyway, he is what's the word? He transforms, and he goes from kind of like whining to like a sound. Yeah. And his mum's like, "Oh, Marvin, you finally hit puberty." Yeah. So then we cut to an alleyway, okay? And we've got 3 hoodlums there, and they've they've got this money from their big boss, okay? Yeah. And they're like, "We need to give this to this cop and say to him, you know, you're going to have to become crooked, otherwise we're going to do you in." Yeah. And the cop turns up, they offer them the money, and he says, "No chance. I'm not. I don't have any time for being crooked. No thanks. I'm a good cop." If there is such a thing. But he's like, no. So they start beating him up, and they're about to shoot him, and then you hear, "Ooh," and along comes the Toxic Avenger, and beats the snot out of these 3, kills 2 of them. And one of them runs away, Cigar Face, this one's name is, yes. Runs away saying, "I'll make you pay for this," and he disappears. Yeah. The cop is freaked out by this, but the Toxic Avenger sits him down and says, "Oh, I don't..." And this is where we hear him talking for the first time. He's got...
Yes, his voice is
so
very different.
Marvin was an idiot. Yeah. But the Toxic Avenger is really clever, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know what came over me. I'm so sorry." Yeah. And he's really polite, like Kelsey Grammer as Frasier, kind of polite. He's like, "I don't know what came over me." But this is the first time where we see kind of like the Toxic Avenger has got like an innate ability to hunt down bad guys. Yeah. Yeah. I think he literally... I think I would say it's one of his powers, because it's something that happens later in the film that we'll obviously get to. That happens. Big hoo-ha down at the police station as the cops are kind of talking to this other cop and being like, "What happened?" He's like, "Oh, I've never seen anything like it. This monster came and he saved me. He's a hero." And they're not getting anything out of Cigar Face at all. They're not getting anything out of him. This other bad guy. So he's out in the wind, and Toxic Avenger goes home and knocks on the door, and his mum opens the door, sees him and starts screaming, and then he's like, "Oh God, well, I can't live here anymore," and he goes to the toxic dump site.
Yeah, and just like sets up camp there.
Sets up camp, and he puts out photos of his mommy and all that. He really makes it a home, but it's a very basic home. He needs a woman's touch, which we'll get to in a bit. We then cut to like a massive kind of party outside of a Mexican food joint. Yep. Everybody's hanging out the front. There's loads of people dancing and on the trucks. Yeah. It's like they've just gone, "We need everybody out the gym. We're just going to put us in this Mexican food place now." Yeah. And we go into the Mexican food place, and within moments it has more thugs break down the door. Like, you know, they're going to be like robbing everyone, etc. There's 3 of them again. One of them's like got a shotgun pointing at people. another one's got a flick knife pointing at people, and another one's kind of like karate guy, you know, because there's always a guy that knows karate in an 80s movie. They're threatening everyone, but one of them grabs a blind lady and starts to, well, first of all, viewers of a what's the word I'm looking for? Of a soft disposition? No, I wouldn't say soft disposition. What's the word I'm looking for? Of a tender disposition.
I don't think anybody particularly enjoys.
No, nobody likes this
scenes.
bit. Yeah, the guide dog for this blind lady is brutally murdered.
I won't forgive them for killing the dog.
You don't kill the
dogs
dog.
in movies.
But if you do,
and that's why this will lose points, this movie.
I can understand it entirely. But if you do harm a dog in a movie as a character, whatever you get coming to you, you absolutely deserve. So this happens, and the blind woman is absolutely distraught about it. But one of the characters then decides that he's going to have his way with her. But of course, he starts to...
Can I just say before
Go
that?
on.
Oh no, is it after that?
Go on.
Yeah, sorry, it's after that. Carry on.
Oh.
It's a great fight scene, basically.
Yeah, okay.
But I think it's between the guy that's going to have his way with the girl and Toxic Avenger, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. And so that's about to happen. But then we hear, Toxic Avenger enters. And also, whenever he comes in, he's always has this music play. Dun, 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 dun. That music, like basic classic music.
Superhero movie.
No, it's not. It's really interesting. It's
No,
what
it doesn't look like a superhero.
No,
So,
but it's like the music that plays when a giant monster appears. You know, you could imagine that's the music that plays when King Kong appears.
Yeah.
You know, not a superhero. No. You know, but he is a hulking big monster. So anyway, he beats up, kills the 3 bad guys again as well in various different ways, and goes to look after the blind lady, whose name is Sarah.
Yes, he finds her on the floor crying, doesn't he?
As bloody hell you would do, wouldn't you?
Yes.
And she's obviously very sad, very upset.
She's obviously not got her guide dog either, so because at first I didn't pick up on the fact that she was blind, and then was like, why is she still there? Why has she not run away? And then I was like, oh, she's blind. She hasn't got a guide dog, and she's terrified. So that's why she hadn't run away. She was just on the floor in a bit of a state.
Yeah. And Toxie, that is how he's known in later movies, Toxie, says, don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm going to look after you, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, can you just get me out of here? And so he picks her up and he carries her out.
She very quickly trusts him, considering she's just been attacked.
Yeah.
By a man, which must be absolutely terrifying.
Oh, could you imagine it blind and
but also
that?
Being blind, it'd be even more terrifying. You can't even see what's going on. You could just horrid. But yeah, so she very quickly just trusts this complete stranger.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I would be wanting somebody I know to come and get me. I wouldn't want to be walking out with a stranger because he could be part of that gang for all you know.
Yeah, you don't know that. This could be some sort of trap.
Yeah, getting you to go somewhere with him and. Yeah, so anyway, she does. She just instantly trusts him.
And Toxie takes her home.
Yes.
One of the funniest things ever in the movie happens.
So they're very deliberately not showing his face at first.
Yes, we don't
at all. We do see later on, but to the point where when they walk into her apartment, she's in some sort of like mobile home or something.
Yeah, it's a weird sort of
when they walk
building,
into her place, he walks in backwards.
Yes.
I'm like, could you just not have turned the done another camera behind him, walking in from behind?
Yeah.
But he actually walks in backwards, which I thought was so funny because there's other ways you could shoot that if you didn't want us to see his face.
Yeah.
Unless it was there for comedy purposes, I don't know.
Maybe.
It was quite funny.
I feel like they were trying to get any laugh out as they could.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Maybe they filmed them backwards doing it. No. And I mean, some of the funniest things happened here. I mean, bearing in mind, Sarah, this lady's name has just been through an absolutely traumatic event. Yes. Her dog, the attack, and she says, "Oh, watch out! There's a step here." And she instantly trips over it.
Yes.
And I shouldn't laugh, but it was very funny.
But it's obviously...
It was a very funny little pratfall joke that I think would have been worthy of something like Naked Gun or Airplane, something like that.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, let me just... And then she stands up and she's like, oh, let me just get my cane. And she's got maybe like 20 canes lined up.
Yeah.
And she just puts her hand over, grabs one and knocks all of them flying.
Yeah.
And then she says to Toxie, oh, do you want me to... you can just sit over there. And she swings the cane up to point to where he can sit. Yeah. And she smacks him between the legs with it. And he doubles over in pain. So it was a load of really funny little...
Yeah.
And, I nearly said sight gags. But the little funny little visual gags for you to see and just have a good laugh with. And it worked really well. And she's like, would you like a PB&J sandwich? And normally Toxie's got this really deep voice, but he's just been whacked between the legs and he goes, yes, please. It's just so stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Toxie and Sarah are, they have a nice little conversation together, etc. Now, we... also then sort of cut back to the diner and the police are interviewing the people in the diner. And again, they're talking about how this monster saved them and how he was a hero, etc., etc. But it's at this point as well then that we cut to the mayor. And we've seen the mayor a little bit before, but ultimately the mayor is corrupt. He's wicked. He's profiteering off of drugs in the city. We also see that he's selling off land for toxic waste, and the toxic waste is going to be right next door to the reservoir for people's drinking water. Yeah. He doesn't care. He's making money, And the mayor and all of his kind of advisors remind me of, or made me think of, the world's worst mobsters. Yeah. They all kind of look like rejects from the Goodfellas. Yeah. They're the bad fellas. They're that's who they are. I was quite proud of that one. I mean, it was awful. I wasn't proud of it at all, but it fit. It fit in, though. It fit in. Yeah, we'll keep it in. Because my editing's very simple. Yep, that'll do.
That'll do, won't do.
That'll do, won't do. No, I do more than that in editing. The amount of ums that I say.
Oh, me too.
And if you listen to the episodes and you think there's so many, oh God, that's a lot of ums. Just think how many I've cut out.
How many there were before.
There's a lot that I can't cut out because I might over something you're saying.
Yes.
Or I'll over something or I'll say and I'll move into the next sentence too quickly or something. Yeah. And that was a lot of those particular words that I've tried very hard not to say and also cut out.
And now the more you try and not to say it, the more
I'll probably end up saying it. I know. Now, that's the mayor. The mayor basically really wants rid of this monster as well because, well, he's damaging profits as well. Yeah. So you can understand if you're a bad guy, you're wanting to make money. And Toxie stopping this happening. Because then we see like a montage of Toxie helping and saving people in different scenarios.
Yes.
Loads of different... we turned off loads of... we see loads of them. He rescues 2 kids that are going to be run over by, funnily enough, Bozo and Slug.
Yeah, that's true. They're just sitting in the middle of the road. I mean, I'm talking quite young kids.
Yeah, but in the 80s you did that, didn't you?
Well, they did in Waynesville, didn't they?
Yeah, we did them. Game on. Yeah. And I sat in the middle of the road playing. Admittedly, I lived up quite a long...
cul-de-sac or something, not on the...
It was a really long road, but it was a dead end at the end. But it did have a lot of access to houses up the road as you went. So there was a lot of cars, but yeah, you just played around
Took
them.
your chance.
Yeah, you took your chance. Survival of the fittest.
We didn't have car seats or seatbelts at one point.
No,
So,
I know.
Take your chance.
I seem to remember
It's a miracle we're still here.
many family trips up to Chesington World of Adventures in the boot of my dad's estate car with me and my cousin Gillian, because just wasn't enough seats for everyone.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, and that's what Chesington's an hour and a half away drive maximum. You know, motorway, 70 miles an hour. What'd you do? I'm still here, aren't I?
In the boot, that must have been so uncomfortable.
Yeah, but it's like
And
an estate
dark.
car. No, not in the. It's an estate. It was like the users said it must have been so uncomfortable and dark. No, it's in the boot. It was an estate car.
Like
So
what's it called? Like a pickup truck, that sort of
no,
thing.
not like a pickup truck. So let me show you the car.
Yeah, you need to
This
show
is
me.
this is interesting.
I'm thinking-
Interesting for you.
Yeah, boot of a car.
It was an old Ford Cortina estate car, right?
Yeah.
1990 sort of age? Yeah, so, yeah, that's it. Oh, no, that's a little bit, that's a slightly older one. But yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, that's pretty much it. So it's a big car with big windows at the back, but it's an
Yeah, so
estate
it's
car.
not an enclosed boot. It's
Yeah, it's not
so
enclosed,
it's
you've
like-
got glass around,
But
but
there's no seats there.
there were no seats, it was ultimately
Yeah, it's
just
still really
the
dangerous.
floor.
So it's
100% very
so
dangerous.
where people normally put their dogs.
Yes, yeah.
They've got a car like
But
that.
me and Gillian were just the youngest and therefore more expendable.
Wow. And the fact that we didn't even have seatbelts in the back.
But we were very much told that if my dad said get down or anything, we had to stay low.
Because
Because of the police. Yeah.
Wow. The way you just all would have been instantly dead if you had an accident.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. We'd have
There's
been for
seatbelts
it.
in the front and none in the back. I'm sure my parents had a car with seatbelts in the front but not in the back seats.
I remember that car having to have seatbelts added to the back because it became a law that seatbelts had to be in
so
the
they were
back of the
just in
car.
the front originally, weren't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because I don't remember us wearing seatbelts.
That car got stolen on Christmas Day.
Did it?
Yeah, but it
What
was...
kind of arsehole stealing cars on
I know.
Christmas Day?
I know, right? And it was found burnt out behind the Kemsley Arms in Kemsley, behind the pub, the Kemsley Arms. Yeah, I know. Who does that? Who steals a car on Christmas Day? I know.
Bastards.
And we only found that out because my cousin lived in the same town, and he was visiting Scotland for that Christmas, and they just asked that we went and just checked on the house and that sort of thing. And we were just going to nip over on Christmas Day really early, just check it out.
Yeah.
We went out and my dad was like, the fucking car's gone. But to be fair, the boot was being held closed by a rope tied from the inside of the boot to the steering wheel. So it probably wasn't that hard to get into the car.
Yeah. Yeah, there was no
God, I'm a
security back then,
povo.
was there?
I'm an absolute povo, aren't I?
Well, there was just no security back in the 80s, was there, if
Oh,
anything?
we didn't care. We didn't care.
No.
Ah, dear. Right, anyway. So we have these montages of...
He walks past the house and there's a window open. This woman's really struggling with a jar and he puts his hand in
Yes.
and opens the jar for her.
she's freaked out, but he opens the
But
jar and
she
she's
doesn't
like,
say, "Thanks."
oh yeah, that's great. So there's all these little things. We also have a little bit of a montage of him falling in love with Sarah,
Yep.
and she does the old kind of like, let me feel your face.
Yeah, I know,
and she's
he's
like,
like,
oh,
no.
you're beautiful.
It's like, no at first, but then...
Yeah, he's like, oh, I don't want you to feel... The
Have we
first
seen
time...
his face by this point?
Yeah, we have.
have.
We've seen his face by this point. And so that happens, but he falls in love with Sarah, has a very, shall we say, not very romantic sex scene with her.
No.
It's,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's a very romantic little love story that's happening, and then a very rampant sex. It's like, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
I was not expecting this. We have our first bully getting dealt with.
Yes.
So, Wanda and Slug have had a little... Slug does this thing where he puts like a cover over his head and sneaks up on Wanda. And this is a little bit earlier in the film. Sneaks up on Wanda in a sauna and grabs her, pretending to be a monster.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, no. And then he goes, oh, it's you, Slug. And they get chatting and the inevitable happens in the sauna. We don't see that then, thankfully. But then, at this point in the film, what's his name?
Toxic.
Toxie, thank you very much, now does exactly the same thing.
Yes.
Wanda's going into the sauna. We see Toxie coming into the gym, wearing this over his head so as not to cause any alarm to anyone, but no one's there anyway. And he grabs Wanda. Wanda thinks it's Slug until he picks her up and puts her on the coals in the sauna.
Yeah.
And that's Wanda dealt with and dead.
Yeah.
What do we...
Did she die just from a burnt bottom?
Well, I'm assuming... I mean, it's not just a burnt bottom. I think he ends up kind of cooking her. Because you don't see any more, but that's kind of it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all you see. They don't show any more. We then... I think there's not a lot more go on, really, at that point. I can't really think of, other than maybe a few more kind of...
A few deaths, I think.
There's a few deaths of... that's right.
Down. There's one in the gym.
Yeah.
But I've got those as...
Yeah. We have... the mayor says that Toxie's costing him a lot of money now, so he gets people to go to kill Toxie. And they corner Toxie in an alleyway... the tent is later.
Oh, okay.
And they corner Toxie in an alleyway, and they're all surrounding him, and they're all pointing guns at him. And just as they're about to fire, Toxie jumps up, and they all shoot each other.
Yeah.
And he gets away from that.
That was Cigarface, there, wasn't it?
That was Cigarface was one of them. Yeah, he was the main ringleader of that group, trying to kill him. Yeah. We then have another guy in the gym selling drugs.
Yeah.
And Toxie goes in, finds him, and kills him as well. So this is all, I think, Toxie has this innate ability to find people who are bad and evil, because there's nothing about this guy that says he's a drug dealer, he's bad, but Toxie knows to go get him and kills him in a very specific way, which I thought was great. And I don't know, you might have it down for the Patreon, I think, more than likely.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, with a good death.
Yeah.
We have then, we cut to, well, we don't cut to, but our next kind of scene is we've got Julie in the gym and Toxie's watching her, and he attacks her in the gym, and she gets away because people see it and like scream at him attacking her, but she gets away and she runs downstairs into this underground sort of complex that's like, it looks like an industrial warehouse below the gym. But Toxie chases her down there, and there's kind of a cat and mouse sort of scene. Ultimately, Julie gets into a room, locks the door behind her, and thinks she's safe. But Toxie punches his way through it. Yeah. And we don't see her get killed, but we see him hold a really sharp pair of scissors over her. And her screaming then cuts to Bozo screaming, saying, "Oh, Julie's really stressing me out, man. Where is she? Oh, she's messing with my karma."
Yeah.
And Slug has a good idea and says, "Hey, look, because Julie's got his car, that's why. So she's not brought my car, and he really wants to go out, drive and run someone over." So Bozo and Slug are like, well, Slug has this idea. He sees an old lady getting out of a car and said, like, we could be driving around in this car. So they go and they go. It's the most weirdest thing. Why they don't just go and mug her straight away? They go and pretend to help her, and then within seconds just start beating the ever living crap out of her. Steal her car, start driving around, and that's when they see Toxie walking in the street. Yeah. And they go to run Toxie over. Toxie jumps, lands on the top of the car, and there's a big sort of
and they're
driving about, trying to get him off the roof, etc. They can't. Toxie grabs Slug by the throat, throws him out the car, gets in, and I'm cutting through this in case we want to talk about these deaths, because I know I definitely want to talk about Julie's death, Slug's death. Yeah. And, well, really Bozo and Wanda's death as bad deaths in this, because anyway, we'll get to that. Yeah. So he throws Slug out the car. He then gets in the car, and Toxie puts his own foot down on the gas in the car, and that goes flying off. There's a sort of drive-through, people getting knocked off ladders kind of thing. You know, your typical kind of knocking things over as you're driving fast cars through them. Yeah. And then ultimately the car goes flying off of a kind of, not a cliff, but it's off of a height and crashes down. Bozo's dead. Toxic gets out the car,
Yeah.
goes away. And that's the 4 bullies dealt with really quickly and really anticlimactically.
Yeah, we've had some really good deaths, but
And that was just meh. So anyway.
And they were the ones you wanted to see die in
Yeah,
a gruesome way because they were
yeah.
assholes.
Exactly. These are the ones that caused all this with Marvin, and nothing happened with them. But we'll talk about them in a bit more detail in a moment. So then we have Toxie. Well, no, we don't have Toxie. We cut to this strange scene of an old lady going into a dry cleaners to pick up her son's dry cleaning. No, to hand in some dry cleaning. And, I mean, it's disgusting. She says, oh, my son's got a new girlfriend. He's got all these stains on the front of his trousers I just can't get out. And it's like, for God's sake. And it's like, this image of this tiny little old lady handing over these trousers was just... I mean, sometimes they just push the boat a little bit too far with these things in films, don't they?
Yeah, definitely.
But then the dry cleaner starts freaking out. He's like, oh, and Toxie turns up, gets the old lady. There's a little bit of a chase around the dry cleaners.
Yeah.
Gets the old lady, puts her in the tumble dryer, spins her around for a bit, gets her at the tumble dryer, and then dry presses her.
Yeah.
To death.
I mean, I can get the idea that it's a bit of a Robin Hood character where he's only getting rid of the bad people.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're a good guy because you're getting rid of the bad people, but then don't do it in such a gruesome way because that makes you really sick as well. Like that makes you almost as bad as them.
Yeah, but everyone still thinks he's a hero.
Yeah.
Now, so this is the strange thing because I was sitting there thinking, oh my God, why is he just killing an old lady? What's gone on?
Yeah.
And I thought, was there something weird happened with Bozo's death? Did somehow Bozo infect him? And it's like, no, it's something even simpler than that.
Yeah.
So Toxie goes back to Sarah and he's like, oh God, Sarah, who's now moved in with him, by the way, and put a lady's touch on the toxic waste pad.
Has. Yeah, they've got an actual bed and everything.
Yeah, and some chintz too, so it's all looking lovely. And Toxie's like, I'm out of control, I'm a monster, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we cut to the mayor, and the mayor's like, oh, he's done it now, he's killed this little old lady, we're going to get him. And then one of his helpers is like, oh, bad news, this little old lady's actually in charge of a human trafficking ring.
He knew, he's just got a sixth sense of these
Toxie
things.
knew, exactly, he's got a sixth sense of these things. But they're like, oh, we better hide it, we're going to call in the National Guard to deal with him. Toxie and Sarah, meanwhile, have decided that they're going to go into hiding away from places and just to kind of be away from anything that could make him want to go and find out evil. So he's away from civilization. But they find out where he is. They call in the National Guard. The people of the town see the National Guard coming through and they're thinking, oh my God, they're going to kill Toxie. So they all kind of band together to go and protect him. And we end up with this kind of strange standoff. We've got all these tanks pointing their guns and all these soldiers pointing their guns at the tent with Toxie in.
Yeah.
And Toxie comes out and he's standing in front of Sarah to protect her. And the mayor's like, kill him! And the National Guard are actually like, actually our orders are to capture him, for science. And then the mayor's like, no, you've got to kill him, he's a monster, blah, blah, blah. And then the people are like, no, you can't kill him, he's a hero. And one by one, all of the townsfolk, there's some pitchfork townspeople, they've got their guns pointed at him.
Is he a hero or is he a mass murderer?
He's a mass murderer. He is a mass murderer, but he's only a mass murderer of people who are also terrible monsters themselves, like the hit and run killers, drug dealers, gangsters that are beating up cops left, right and centre. So, listen, you play...
For an eye.
Yeah, you play hard, you...
Get killed.
Get killed, yeah. That's the saying.
You
or it is
do
now.
the crime, they don't do the time, they just get killed.
No, it doesn't, does it?
Do the crime, you get
There's
killed.
no rhyme. There's no rhyme. There's just no rhyme. You do the crime, you get your limbs ripped off.
You do the crime and then there's no rhyme.
That's pretty much it. And one by one, everybody puts their guns down. The National Guard lower their guns. Even the tank lowers its gun.
Yeah.
it's quite funny. And Toxie obviously realises that the mayor's a bad guy, goes along and
Oh, yes.
punches his stomach and pulls his insides out, and the mayor dies.
His stomach out, and then says, "That's got that in my lines," but
it's something about taking out the trash.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And then the mayor picks it up and tries to.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how internal organs work. If you rip them out, I don't think you can just.
It looked to me like he pulled his liver out.
Oh, his liver, you think?
Yeah. I
Okay,
think it might have been.
Yeah, I'm not sure that if you just put it back in place, it's not the game operation. It's it's not that simple. It's connected to stuff, and you're probably bleeding to death in the process. But yeah, he does try and put it back in, bless him, and obviously.
And the mayor dies, and that's the end of the film.
Yeah.
That's it. And I loved it.
We really liked it, and we're covering the bad in the main episode, so you have to come over to the Patreon because that's when we talk about all the good stuff.
I know.
There is
a lot of good stuff to talk about with this film. If you've never seen the Toxic Avenger before, I'm going to say it now. I absolutely recommend it. I recommend watching it 100% of the time. It's a stupidly fun film, but we do have some categories to talk about.
Yes.
So we've got line, costume, death, stunts, and music. And you know what? I did not find any bad music in this film.
No, I didn't, because it was 80s.
80s
music is amazing.
Classic
if you grew up
80s
in the 80s,
music. Yeah.
Which we both did, so it's...
And it wasn't like it was anything that was recognisable, but it was just
that
recognisable 80s synth
80s.
pop stuff. Yeah. Fantastic.
So we can't fault the music on this.
Cannot fault it.
Yeah, anything that is 80s, we're going to like, can't we?
Yeah, I mean, that's just so standard. Now, what about... Actually, are we loving this film because it's an 80s film?
No, I think we...
Is this film universal? It doesn't have to be 80s.
I don't think it's because it was 80s. I think it was because, for once, we got to see the deaths, and they'd made them really gruesome and gory. They really went to town on the deaths. We had little bits in there like, the really good fight scene. Yeah. We had some funny little bits.
Yes.
It kind of had a bit of everything, I think, and it kept us entertained. And we quite often with these movies, when we look at Captain America, we were falling asleep.
Oh yeah, I know.
That was awful.
Oh.
And I mean.
And we didn't watch this film any later than we watched Captain America.
Or any earlier, you mean?
We watched this film around about the same time.
About the same time, so we were both tired still because we were older. We were always tired.
Yep.
But and we do tend to put them on quite late.
Because I know we do this stupid thing where we catch up and talk to each other before we start recording the episodes. Honestly, what are we like?
I mean, to be fair, even if we didn't do that, by the time we've recorded the intro,
sung the theme tune, wrote the theme tune.
Anyway.
Yeah, and who starts a film after 9? We start film at 10. I know.
And then wonder why we were exhausted. But we didn't. This kept us entertained. This actually kept me watching. I wasn't at any point thinking, I'm bored. Sometimes with some movies, I'm thinking, how long have we got left? Have we really got that long left?
You said something last night that you can tell it's a good movie because I stopped making notes because I can't take my eyes off of it, and you make a lot.
Loads of notes. Yeah, that is I will always.
It is a mark.
I need to write that down.
Yeah. Which
ruins it for me because I'm like, I just want to watch it really, and then you don't make any notes because you're just glued to the movie. So.
Yeah, and I watched some of this movie again in my lunch break today.
Yeah.
Just so that I could just go, okay, I need to make notes. Make notes. You can probably tell that I didn't get to watch all of it in my lunch break because the last half of the movie, I'm like, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens, and we're done. And I'm sure I've missed a bit out of it anyway. All right, fine. I think bad music, none. What about bad stunts?
When the kid got hit by so when they go out and they're drink driving and they're killing people. When we first see them go out and kill this kid. Yeah. I put that down as a bad stunt because just the way his body went over the car, it just looked like they'd just thrown a dummy, which is probably what they did. Yeah. They'd thrown a dummy over the car, so I didn't think that looked particularly good.
Well, funny you should say that, but the kid that was cast in the movie was only cast. I was reading the trivia. Okay. The kid that was cast to play that part was only cast because they looked like the stuntman who was going to be going over the car.
So it was actually a stuntman.
So it was actually a stuntman. Yeah, I know.
That was a good stunt then, actually.
It was because they put themselves limp. They went limp and went over, which...
I'm quite impressed that was actually real then.
But yeah, you're right. It did look dummy-like.
Yeah.
And when I
So
read
actually,
that
I'm
fact,
wrong,
I
that
thought,
was a good stuntman then.
well, I know, but it's fair because that was the impression of it. I
Yeah.
think, that was your initial impression, so stick with that.
And I also thought when he fell into the toxic waste,
Oh, yeah.
it just looked. That scene should have been. I know there was a bit of comedy in there, but that
Yeah.
scene should have been quite dramatic because he's fallen into the waste and he's. But it was the way that he fell in head first, and his little legs were just like waving at the top. And I thought they've made it too. I know it's a silly, like ridiculous movie.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a bit too silly, and I thought they could have made more drama out of that.
And you've got the
scene.
tutu and the pink polka dot
the
leggings
outfit
sticking
that he had
out.
on was just ridiculous as well.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. It took away from the stunt.
Yeah. Did you have any bad stunts?
Well, I don't have a particularly bad stunt, but I did note down today there's only so many times you can see someone picked up by the crotch and thrown into some boxes.
Yeah, he did that a lot.
And
he liked to grab them by the crotch, didn't he?
when he's beating up goons and bad guys, that seems to be the major move. Grab someone between the legs, grab them by the scruff of the neck, and launch them away. Which, when you're strong, that's probably a really good tactic. But when it happens, there's like 3 bad guys in the first scene. He does it to all 3 of them.
Yeah.
3 bad guys in the Mexican diner scene. He does it to all 3 of them again.
Yeah.
In that, and then I'm just like,
it's straight out of a cartoon.
all right, yeah, this is like a wrestler's signature move.
To be fair, he was quite a big guy once he got in the toxic waste. He was quite tall and broad, wasn't he? So I guess he could pick people up like that, but. Yeah, it was done to death, wasn't it?
It was done to death. But that's the only thing I picked out as a bad stunt because, it just, oh, okay. And there was always cardboard boxes around. I love that. It's always done in an alleyway where no one's picked up the rubbish for a while and the rubbish is always cardboard boxes.
Of course it is, because they can use that for landing, can't they?
Absolutely perfect. So, so that's my bad stunt. Now, what about bad death?
So I've got a lot of good deaths because I did think this movie did that really well.
Yep.
So I think I've got like 4 good deaths.
Yeah.
But the death I didn't like was when Cigarface and his friends came back and they circled.
You didn't like that?
Toxic. No, and and he was like, "I'm going to give you 6 new arseholes."
Oh,
they had, like, guns pointing at him.
Yeah.
And they all circle him, and he just jumps out of the way, but the jump was quite badly done. It was like almost like slow motion.
Oh yes,
it wasn't particularly well done, and he would have to jump so ridiculously high. I know he's a superhero, but it was like jump so ridiculously high to get out of there. That wasn't and I think, and then they all shoot each other. And I think as deaths go in this movie, there's some spectacular deaths, and that just was a bit. They just shot each other.
I like the idea of the deaths.
Oh, okay.
I like the idea of them circling him because no one does that. Everybody always has like people round people with a gun, and you're like, you're all in danger of shooting yourselves right now.
Yeah.
But I don't ever remember seeing it actually happen in a film. So I like the idea, but you're right. As soon as you see him squat to jump, you just be like, bang.
Yeah.
and
also
it was too slow.
Quite boring considering the other deaths we had in this movie. It felt a bit lazy and boring compared to the other ones.
Sure.
So that was probably the worst death for me.
Yeah, have you got any more?
No, that was it. The others
I
liked.
I agree. That is my reasoning behind the bad deaths in this movie. But I cannot understand a movie that, like you say, that has all these fantastic deaths and some really good deaths, that 4 of the main antagonists end up having some of the most boring deaths. Wanda, burnt on some hot rocks.
Yeah. And you didn't even see it all.
You didn't even see it.
Put her on there.
Exactly. And hold her down on it for a while and then move on.
Yeah.
Julie, you don't even see anything happen to her. She's terrorised and chased through this part of the gym, and then he holds up a pair of scissors and all you see is the shadow of these scissors and you don't see her get killed. Slug, he's grabbed by the neck in a car and thrown out onto the pavement. You don't even know if he dies from it. And then Bozo ends up just being driven off of a kind of a hill. And it just felt so underwhelming for those
that's
four.
The word for it, isn't it? Because we've seen some really, like spectacular deaths.
Yep. All to just randomers.
Yeah.
When these would have been far more satisfying, super gory
deaths. It didn't make sense, actually, did it? Because all the extras got the really good deaths, and then these guys, he was just like, that'll do.
It's almost like they were an afterthought. Oh yeah, we do actually have to deal with these people, you know. Yeah, so I just thought that was a bit. As I said, underwhelming.
Yeah.
Disappointing. Have you ever seen the TV show Hercules?
No.
So I think the actor's name is Kevin Sorbo, right?
Yeah.
He's now a complete right-wing mouthpiece on Twitter. Okay, so he's just a dick.
Yeah.
But he's also an idiot. Okay, and an absolute idiot. And there's proof of him being a complete idiot.
Yeah.
So in one scene, right, he's got a, and it actually made it into the real TV show. He had a kind of a stage, like a, what's the word I'm looking for? My memory is awful. It's like he's got like a stage direction to scream in a disappointed way, like right.
Yeah.
But instead, he actually just goes disappointed.
What?
He does that. So he obviously misread it as like
Kept in.
Yeah, and they kept it in. And I'm pretty sure I've sent you the GIF of him doing it many times because I'm always very disappointed.
With me, yeah.
Disappointed. And that's how I felt with those deaths.
Yeah.
That GIF embodies it all. It does indeed. All right, what about bad costume then?
Costume, I actually put down Toxic Avenger.
Oh.
Because when he goes into the toxic waste, he's got like the tutu and the leggings and stuff on.
Yeah.
So then when he came out and so then he's got like it was all kind of burnt and dirty and so like brown in the end. It wasn't pink after he came out. Yeah. But it was like a cross between a caveman and a ballet dancer.
Yeah, because he still had kind of like the melted down tutu around him. It was just
a ridiculous outfit for a superhero, and also we haven't talked about what he looks like, but he looks like Sloth from the Goonies.
Oh yes.
So we do see his face about halfway through, maybe a bit later, and I think we're going to put an image up, aren't we, on the?
Oh yes,
social media. So we're going to put a picture up of him, but very similar to Sloth, even with the eyes like one lower than the other and stuff.
And I even said to you, I wonder which came first, Sloth or the Toxic Avenger.
We looked it up, didn't we? And it was a year after the Goonies.
Yeah, a year after the Goonies. So
they must have got their inspiration from there. But
I reckon they used the Sloth mask.
I think they did because it was so similar.
It really was.
But it just, I don't know, his whole look. I know he's gone into toxic waste, so he's going to look like a monster rather than a superhero.
Yes.
But they could have done something like, I don't know, I feel like they could have made him look a bit less monster-like and a bit more superhero. I mean, they could have done something different. It just... Yeah, Sloth from the Goonies wasn't the one.
No,
I don't think that was right, but...
I know.
Yeah, did you have any bad costumes?
I do, actually. And they're almost blink and you'll miss it costumes.
Yeah.
But during like the kind of the intro to the movie where we're kind of the camera's walking through the gym and you're seeing all sorts of different characters.
Yeah.
All around the gym, right? Great callback to the 80s and, memories of all the different lycra sort of stuff going on. Yeah. But it was the two fellas with the really tiny sort of leather budgie smugglers in the gym. Mm-hmm. And that's all they were wearing. And it was like, oh no.
Yeah.
It's not a good look on anyone, it's not a good look on anyone. I don't need to see it.
No, nobody's shorts need to be that tiny.
No. And 80s shots.
There were loads of 80s shots.
80s shots are so tiny.
Yeah.
Do you remember that scene I can't remember who it is, but it's in Friends. There's someone, I think some guy dating Phoebe, is it?
Yeah, it might be.
And he's got really short shorts on.
And he puts his leg up on the chair, doesn't he?
And he's meat and two veg are hanging out, and everyone's talking about it, and they're like, we're going to have to mention it to him. Yeah. And Gunther just comes along and says, this is a family place. They can put the mouse back in the house.
Yeah.
And there's so many scenes where you've got a guy in short
Yeah,
shorts.
that we very nearly see something.
And yeah, I mean, you know, the start.
Like the camera will go right between their legs when they're on a weight machine, like on a bench laying down and stuff. And you very nearly see a lot of.
And it's just like, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you know, we're all human, but I don't need that shoved in my face, literally.
No.
You know, it doesn't have to happen. But yeah, so bad costume was literally blink and you'll miss it for me. But otherwise, I was loving the 80s vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
So now, unless you've got any other bad costumes?
No.
It was just Toxic for you.
Just Toxic, yeah.
So that brings us to our last topic. What about bad lines?
So, yeah, I've got a couple of good lines, but the bad line for me was just when he was in the bath and his body's all changing and he's like moaning and groaning and his mum's on the other side of the door and she just goes, "Oh, my little Melvin, he must have hit puberty."
Oh, I'm sorry, I ruined that.
That's all right.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I just thought, I don't know, I just thought it was a bit rubbish, to be honest. I was just like, again, it is a really silly movie, but it was just like, I don't know, it wasn't funny.
No.
And it was just like a bit of a silly thing to say because it's one of those things, isn't it, where like he's clearly moaning and groaning, but not in a pleasurable way. He's moaning and groaning like, "Oh, something's happening to me."
Yeah.
As a mother, you wouldn't just be like, "Oh, he's just hitting puberty." You'd be like, "What the hell is going on in there? You're right."
But then all the signs are there. There's a lot of noises come from the bathroom and he's in there a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. No, yeah. Any more?
No. Did you have anything?
Well, I've got a few. I do have a few.
Oh, okay.
So the first one I've got is when the mayor is kind of first talking about the Toxic Avenger. It's after the attack on the cop by Cigarface and his goons. Mm-hmm. So it's the first people that Toxic beats up, and he says to one of his sidekicks, he says, "Have we got any more sense out of Cigarface?" And he's just like, "Oh no, he's still in a bad way. He just keeps on about how gruesome he was." And one of the mayor's other sort of sidekicks goes, and I've literally just put him down, "Man that hates his mother-in-law." He says, "Gruesome, huh? Have you met my mother-in-law? Now that's gruesome." Like,
oh. Little jokes. Very 80s.
Very, very 80s joke, you know. It's my mother-in-law, tum-tum, you know.
Take my mother-in-law. No, go on.
No, go on, take her. Oh.
It's just like, come on. Yeah, 80s.
Oh, that's painful, that one. Then another one was it was the two toxic waste lorry drivers. You know, the two guys in the cab, and one of them was like, "Oh man, I'm knackered. Let's take a break." And then the other guy was just literally Mr. Exposition. He's like, "You know how the boss doesn't want us to stop with this carcinogenic waste on board." It's like,
Yeah, they weren't very responsible, those drivers, were they?
But the one that really got me, was Julie.
Yeah.
Just after she has hoodwinked Marvin into dressing up in the tutu and all that, to be kissing and canoodling with a sheep, had everybody chase him out of the window into the toxic waste, and, Julie says to Bozo, "Oh, Bozo, Marvin doesn't look good," and then a minute later she's like, "He might be in real trouble, Bozo," and she's playing it as worried as well. Yeah. "Oh, he might be in real trouble, Bozo." Bearing in mind that the night previous to that, she was taking pictures of the kid that they ran over.
Yeah.
So why was she suddenly being all kind of worried about Marvin melting in front of them when she's snapping Polaroids of a squashed watermelon head?
Yeah. And loving it.
It didn't make any sense. So I had that down as absolutely the worst kind of lines, because where does that worry come for in that character?
Yeah.
You know, so absolutely give those lines to anyone. "Oh, he doesn't look good. Oh, you know."
Yeah. But not
anyone
her.
could say that, but not Julie. Absolutely not. But yeah, other than that, I don't have any other bad lines. And I think, I don't know, have you got any wild cards you wanted?
No, only good ones. So, only one good one.
And good wild cards are going to be on the Patreon.
Yeah.
So, right, it's time we score this movie.
Yeah.
because we've been yammering on about it and other things for some time.
Yeah.
So, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I think I'm going to go 3.5.
Oh, okay.
I might have given it 4, but they killed a dog. And then they also did a very gruesome death on the dog, so it's got to lose some marks for that.
Oh, okay.
But it is, like
So
I said
3.5.
overall,
Yeah.
it's got a bit of everything, and we did enjoy it.
So how many marks are you taking off because of the dog? A half mark?
I think maybe half a mark.
Maybe half mark. So 4 if the dog lived,
Yeah.
3.5 because the dog didn't live.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
you?
Fair enough. Me, I'm actually giving it 4 out of 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm giving it 4 out
You
of
don't
5.
care about the dog.
Yeah, I give very little cares. I could care less. I know. No. I'd probably be giving it 5 if it was for the no. This movie's been on my to-watch list for a long time, and I have not been disappointed. I was because we watched the movie last night, and we're recording about it tonight. The next night, of course, because we can't do it all in one night. It's insane. What do you think we are? Robots?
Machines.
Yeah. I'm not a machine, I'm a man. Machine man. And anyway, don't know where I was going with that.
No, never do
I was starting to quote bloody Charlie Chaplin in a movie. Anyway, never mind. I am so pleased that I've seen it now.
Yeah.
And ticked it off the list of films to watch because I absolutely did laugh out loud to a lot of it. It was stupid fun. It kept me entertained all the way through it.
Yeah.
Are there things that weren't great about it? Yeah. I mean, it was very much just a nonsense film, of course.
No movie's perfect.
No movie's perfect. Apart from Snakes on a Plane, apparently.
Well, yeah, actually, you'll take that back. That's pretty perfect.
And another, what was the other film that I really loved?
I can't remember, but you scored something really high.
I scored something really high, didn't I?
Oh, was it something?
Was it Teeth?
Teeth. Yeah, well, I'd seen it and you hadn't. Yeah.
Teeth's a perfect movie. Teeth's a great movie. But Toxic Avenger was great. There's obviously quite a few things that we pulled holes in there.
Yeah.
But it was a great film and definitely worth 4 out of 5 and definitely worth people going and watching it.
Yes.
We watched it for free on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's free on there. So if you've got Amazon Prime, watch it.
Yeah.
Definitely worth it. But yeah, you got anything more to say about the Toxic Avenger?
Just come and join us on the Patreon because we're talking about the good stuff and there is lots of good stuff.
There is a lot of good stuff. If you are interested in the Patreon, you can head over. It's $5 a month. And for that $5, you get the main episode released a day early.
Yeah.
So you get a chance to listen to it early. I know, you lucky bunch. For as long, and look, Emma and I were really busy people. We'll always try and release it a day early.
Yeah.
We'll let you know if we can, and we'll make it up to you, I promise. Don't know how. Favours, undying love.
Yeah.
If you believe us.
That one is free.
Yeah, that's free. But yeah, and you get the flip side, which is obviously where we talk about the opposite in the categories. You also get the odd special episode being released. Yeah. And bad movies for kids. So if you've got kids of your own, nieces, nephews, grandchildren,
so they're absolutely safe for the kids to listen to because we use our kids.
Yes, we use our kids for slave labour.
We use our kids in those, so there's no swearing or anything inappropriate. So they are reviewing kids movies with the kids. So they're not. And they are
a mixture of classic kids movies that don't stand up to the test of time, or were awful at the time as well, and also a mixture of some not very well known terrible kids movies that are just like, who thought of making this for kids? What the heck? So you'll get those as well. But yeah, so you can come and join us over at www.patreon.com/ICBadMovies as well. So the links will be with the episode, or you can come and find our little sort of link tree on social media on Instagram as well. But yeah, thanks for listening. I've been Dave. Thank you and goodbye. And
I've been Emma. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.